Hi, and welcome to ICS Arabia. Thanks for joining me again on the podcast. I have a special guest today, my friend Zakhar. He's the founder of Labshock and OT Sim Mastery. Hi, Zakhar, and thank you for joining me.
Yeah, hi, Suleiman. Thanks a lot for inviting me to this podcast and very appreciate it. Thanks.
It's my pleasure. I've tried to invite him many times before, but things didn't work out. But now he's finally here. I really thank him for that. So why don't you tell us about yourself and introduce yourself, your background, and how did you get started in OT cybersecurity?
Yeah, so my name is Zakhar and I'm, let's say, here in OT security in more than 15 years. And my journey started back in 2011 when I finished the master degree in pure cybersecurity. So it was, of course, no OT security in these days, but IT security. And it was one of the, let's say, first programs like that. So even in IT, we were at first finishing the mastering and security in my home country. And it was really cool. Like we did cryptography, Linux, networking, like we are hackers and etc. We are not physics. It was very cool. And of course, documentation that no one like it, but we must to read and to understand also in these compliances. But to be honest, none of us really knew what were doing or where it would lead, like to jobs or to in practical, in business way, because no companies we were ready for that. The same maybe for now in OT. And the maturity level was not in this high level. And of course, like many of others, I ended and go up to the army and we joined the intelligence division where also this security was pretty much appreciated. And we used a lot of knowledge in there. And after army, I came home and ran into the problem, there were no jobs and companies hiring the security guys. And the one thing, what was in my let's say home country, it was I went into the OT. So the poor OT with gas industry, and it was a little bit north of my home for 400 kilometers, but who cares about that? And one more problem, that the station of this gas station was more than 100 kilometers from the main town, and we are working in the, let's say, in the forest from Monday to Friday, and it was hard but very interesting for me, the job. And there I learned everything from the OT, like starting from Siemens 300, 400, all this Moxa networking and the WinCC and etc. Because the station was in commissioning stage, let's say, and it was pretty much easy to learn, to build, to fix, and etc. And it was really my biggest OT experience with hands-on. And in this time, I built my first OT lab with, of course, physical OT with S300 and all the equipment from the spare parts from the station. But no one knows that.
Yeah, I just knew. because I didn't know you built a OT physical lab and the other information that you just mentioned. So what year? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Maybe you have here a question. No problem.
Yeah, what year did you start OT, and when was that?
In OT. Yeah, it was this gas station, like where the Siemens equipment were, and
When? Which year?
When?
Yeah, which year? Yeah.
When it was 2012, I think.
Oh,
Something
me too.
like that.
I started 2012. But as a researcher, I started as a researcher, as a PhD student. I started writing and researching about OT security back then. It was called SCADA security. So, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and I spent like 1 year into the deep programming, deep understanding all these ST, FBD languages and SCADA, how it's connect, how it work, all this networking. And it was very interesting for me because it was like different directions and different knowledge, not related to security, but in this stage, I didn't realize that it will be maybe help me in the future, but who knows, it helped a lot. And after a while, security started like penetrating and creeping into the OT. And then maybe the same what we saw here in Europe now. We were in this stage in 10 years ago, but companies, integrators came and started installing antiviruses, installing the backup systems, and etc. And I thought, like, yeah, can I join you to do the same stuff? And yeah, I switched into the OT integrator security company, and also spend a lot of like 2 years with traveling and installing these central antiviruses, backup systems, and some custom things for all these distributed systems in gas and ICS networks. But after that, little bit family changes, and I got a son, and traveling is not so much appreciated by my family, and I switched into the pure IT security in the banking industry. And there I first meet the SIEM solutions, and I understand, like, yeah, this is the core security stuff, that monitoring everything, and the only true parts where you can find all these maybe not vulnerabilities, but you can see everything in these systems. And I thought that, yeah, I like it, and I really go deep into this topic. And after that, I didn't jump out from this field, and in all my jobs I somehow connected into the SIEM, into the log management, collections, etc. Of course, I've got some in banking sphere. It was, of course, bankings are the top of security, everything starting from there, after the military, of course. And all these know-how technologies are starting there, and a lot of things was there, VPNs, networking, phishing, all this stuff. So, but the SIEM was also the core part. And after that, the OT, let's say security, started to evolve, and increasing the demand for people in the OT, and the big oil company creating a department for OT, experts, and of course there was no experts, and they hired me, and there we started my biggest maybe project with this OT SIM. It was not pure OT SIM, it was like, let's say, a goal was to protect OT distributed systems all over the company. And one of the core things, of course, was collect the data from these systems and somehow to analyze it. And I, as the main architecture and developer, we created the OT SIM for these purposes. And it was really interesting and a lot of fun there, for starting from piloting and this commissioning and testing and etc. Because no one knows what to use, what to collect, and how to collect. So it was a really black hole that IT SOCs analysts are saying that, yeah, we need something, but who knows what you need to analyze, what data, and how you will respond to this data. They only saying like, yeah, let's send all the data into the IT SIM, and after that we will do something. But after we inject all the data, it was a little bit overwhelming and it must not help. And after that, yeah, we decided to let's build something especially for OT, that people like OT SIM for engineers, not to IT management, to help the people with monitoring, with some detecting issues and etc. Yeah, it was a really big and interesting project. And after that I switched a little bit to the development because of the remote work, and now I came here in Germany and working as in the OT industry, also in the OT security as a consultancy, and in my free time, let's say, I'm working with Labshock project. And OT, creating some awareness with OT SIM and sharing the knowledge what I have and what I can grab from the documents or from the internet.
Yeah. Nice. Interesting, Zakhar. That's quite a journey. So you just mentioned Labshock. So Labshock, for you who don't know, is a very, for me, powerful OT testbed. I've used it many times. I used it in my training. My students like it. It has a good reputation so far, very good reputation in the community, and it just started. So we want to know about this lab. Zakhar will introduce us why he started it, and he will show us how, in the screen also, how it works and the features and everything, so you guys know what I'm talking about. So please, Zakhar, tell us about Labshock. What brought you this idea? Was it all? Did you think about it for a long time, or did you try other virtual test beds, and so you thought, no, now I'm going to try my own and do my own? Why? What sparked the idea?
Yeah, so when I started, let's say that the first posts and the first writings on the LinkedIn about the OT SIM, and of course, people don't maybe not understand, but not acknowledge this data, because the maturity, I think, level is not this high, and there was a two extreme opposite directions. Like one of part are saying that there is no OT SIM and we don't need to collect the data, it's impossible or whatever, and the other side was like, yeah, we are collecting, everything is fine. And this topic about the OT SIM was a little bit hard to write and to describe, and I stepped back and starting from some simple things, and in some place I thought that only writing about the theory and the documents, it's first, it's not very interesting, and second, it's hard to write only when you are telling something. And after that, I go into the internet and check like what we have to run the something from the OT. Yeah, of course, I understood that there might be no OT labs, but yeah, there is only 1, 2, and they are not related to the security. And after that, when you have, let's say, distributed services or distributed systems, like, yeah, we can take the OpenPLC, run it onto the VM and somehow check something, but it's not the security related, and you cannot do a lot of stuff with this one VM, second VM, third VM, when they are separated and not in one test bed. And after that, I realized that, yeah, we need to start something that will combine everything, and it will give me the possibility to use it on the next level. So it's not about only to learn how to connect the PLC and SCADA. It's more about how to collect the data and how to detect some anomalies, some not normal behavior in these systems. And yeah, it's only started, and the main idea is not, let's say, not covered yet. And the main reason was to be a support for documents to post to all this leveling guide for OTC. This was the main idea for Labshock. Yeah, and after that, I started to release the first version. It was like people like it because everything in one place. You don't need tons of tools to connect, to do something, to run this and this and that. Everything on the web. And yeah, I thought that I need to fix and go in this direction to make it simple as possible, like without any additional problems to install it, because running into virtual boxes, a lot of stuff, it's also not possible for 95% of the users which are not familiar with OT. So yeah, you can do it better when you have full control of the network and hardware and etc. It may be more realistic, but for many of us, it's not reachable at all. And now we have what we have, like a core-based system to spin it up in 10 minutes, and you have everything in, let's say, on your computer.
So, do you want to share something now, or?
Yeah, maybe we can talk about the OT SIM and how the Labshock is connected to it.
Sure.
Yeah, and the main idea is like for me to have all control of the lab, that you can introduce new features to, for example, log collections or network monitoring, and to show in easy way, not in Wireshark, because it's also hard to demonstrate and to teach people when you have this OT traffic in your Wireshark. Yes. And for example, or you need to install the editor, OpenPLC editor into your computer to write the program. And after that, it was a base for OT SIM documents and articles. But after that, people said that it's not only good for OT SIM maybe, but also for learning the programming languages. Like you have a SCADA, you have a PLC, and they are connected, and you can manipulate and learn the OT. So it's good first for OT engineers, automation engineers, that they are learning the security, like how to log in into the Kali Linux, or how to run some basic commands to run scans, or to run something in network discovery with Nmap. And it's also good for IT security guys and penetration testers to learn the OT, how to connect the PLCs into the SCADA, what is tags, what is Modbus, why I need to learn it, and what inside this traffic. And also for engineers to learn how to program in safer way and how to connect it. And after that, now we have Labshock, that is a standalone product that's not only about OT SIM, but of course my main goal is to create a lab for security reason, not to only like a test bed for connect the PLC and SCADA, with all the features like a DMZ zone, all the log collections, and of course external SIMs to send and to test the detection rules. So this is the goal of maybe of the Labshock in nearest future. And maybe we can share the screen.
Sure.
I can.
Sure, man.
Yeah, so this is all in one place. So maybe this is why your students also like it. Like you click and you have 6 services running inside your web browser. So like you have a SCADA, PLC, and also engineering workstation. You don't need to install any kind of software that you can change the project or the layouts. And of course, the security services. So we can start, for example, with SCADA service. Wait a bit, OpenPLC, update. So we have OpenPLC. And the good thing is that it goes with predefined ready program, which is running inside. So you can try to change it in legitimate way or not legitimate, what you ask for in some time. But it has a that is running inside it. So the first blocker for newcomers and learners that, okay, I have an OpenPLC, but what to run inside this OpenPLC? And inside this, you have a program that contains the tags, values, and etc. So some logic inside this PLC. It's not only the tool, but tool with logic, with infrastructure, with environment. And this was the first step to remove this blocker and unknown phase for, I think, 80% of your students. And after that, I connect this OpenPLC into the SCADA layout and write, of course, some basic OT infrastructure as an oil station. So I went into the internet, grabbed the technological schema for basic oil station and transfer it to here. And the second blocker is that you have a connected PLC into your SCADA. So you have a layout to control the OpenPLC. So without knowledge or spend month to create it, it's also not reachable for many of us. So this is why maybe people love this, like you are clicking, running, and everything is working. And of course, another thing that you can change it, test it, and for example, learn how all these tags are interconnected with PLC and the SCADA, how the Modbus addresses are working, how to connect all this data. So it's more automation engineer work, which are required to learn the IT security guys. Without this, I think it's impossible to jump into the OT and saying that I'm an expert in the security without knowing how the SCADA and PLC are connected and what is PLC. And of course, there is all you need to learn programming. So you don't need to install something to learn for example, here as a ST language. Yeah, so you have a base, a sample, example, or whatever that you can start to work, and it's also remove months of preparing the environment. So this is what Labshock now. It was as a core. So these free services was a really core thing for the test bed for the Labshock, which I think like, yeah, let's connect these free services and it will help me to continue spread the knowledge about the OT for many of IT security guys. And this was like a first release, which I think was successful, and I've got a feedback that, yeah, it's cool. And there is no really easy alternative for that. And after that, I started to add their services, security services, for example, to check the traffic. And it is, I think, the most game changer for the Labshock as a test bed, poor OT test bed, because you have the traffic and you can easily check this traffic, because without Labshock you need to run the Wireshark to connect the Wireshark into your, if we are not talking about a Docker, yes, to check the traffic inside your network somehow. and also to filter and to make readable of this traffic. Because here in Labshock, you see only the most important things as packets. It has the same packets as a Wireshark, but in little bit different way with some aggregation and manipulation. But it reduced the number of traffic, the volume of traffic, and you can see, for example, here is only query and response. So you don't have tons of packets between this query and response. Because if we are going into the SCADA, here you can see that polling here is reduced polling for 1 second. Normally it's 500 milliseconds. So it's a lot of data transferring between PLC and SCADA, and it is a lot of traffic. And here you can see more or less visible data for, of course, for newcomers, that you can explain that, yeah, this is Modbus and this is how it works. And this was first security, let's say, security service for the Labshock. And of course, a lot of talks, I think you have tons of these podcasts about the network protocols and etc., because it is the main topic for OT security. They are open, and the first step when you are going into the ICS security is the network traffic. And in additional, you have all these connections where you can see and understand if only the SCADA and PLC is working. I have 2 connections. If something is more, you have more connections, and it is building the, let's say, the vision for the ICS network, especially for learning and for teaching, like what is inside network and what I need to look with IDS systems or with some monitoring systems, and it gives a basic knowledge of the network, like who is talking with whom, and it's more or less creating the core, the skeleton for the users, that yeah, this is SCADA, and if something is going to my system, I need to detect it. So this was and of course there is pickups where you can download the files and analyze it with Wireshark. So it's also possible. Yeah, this was the second service which I include into the Labshock as a must-have service. Without this, learn the OT security is very hard, because nowadays the ICR security and ICS networks are only protected by the monitoring of the network. We have Modbus, 60-70% of the protocols are Modbus, it's open. And what people are doing, you cannot, for example, go into the PLC and collect the logs from the PLC in old equipment, let's say. And the easiest and sometimes the only possible way is to collect traffic from the span port and to detect some anomalies. I think it will change in nearest future, but now we have only the traffic, and it must have for all the students the starting point. Yeah, and after that I added the, let's say, pen test station for the Labshock to simplify the learning the enumeration and the scanning, how it works with Nmap, yes, because it is the must-have tool for knowing and to learning, and it's also included into the Labshock. And the good thing that it is a web interface to fast to show the users, to show the people, or to learn or to deep dive. And after that, of course, you can go into the terminals and make this Nmap like from the terminal and play with all these filters. But one more time, the blocker, the first step is to simplify the process with this Nmap or the Modbus client. So you don't need to go and I tried to search the Modbus clients, let's say native Modbus clients, but there is one or two, and they're not so rich in the features and in the commands and the arguments, and it's hard to use them and compile and build and run into the Kali. It's also a little bit problematic. And here you can learn what is read coils, what is write coils, yes, with simple way. This is what is Labshock. Let's say my main goal and my main vision is that create a macOS interface for the testbed without a lot of customization and unnecessary customization to make a very simple thing to users. This is maybe the main motto for the Labshock. And of course, future things about the logs that we will have now that you can configure the logs, check, for example, if we are going into the into the OpenPLC, it will give you, for example, OpenPLC. It will give you a logs. For now, it's not very understandable what to do with logs, but you need this to go into the next steps to analyze these logs. But at least you can see that, login, logout, start, stop PLC, it is critical, changing the configurations, and you have at least 10 logs that are creating the vision of for users, for students, or for experts, what I need to check and what I need to monitor on the PLC. That this is not a phishing emails, or this is not a confidential of the data. This is more or less start stop PLC. It is not grabbing the program. So, and this will, I think, build the core thing for security experts and to build the vision for everyone. So this is what Labshock is now and what is included in now release.
Great, really impressive. Nice features, man. So you're planning to do more features in the future, right? Anything in particular?
Yeah, I thought that I released the DMZ feature like a few weeks ago before my vacation, but believe or not, there is no services that you can easily take and integrate into the Docker and run, for example, easily the firewall or file transfer. There is no web interface for some simple Python web file transfer, file sharing. So they are complex or they are not usable. So it's a little bit more work here. But yeah, next will be the DMZ release, where we will put I think the most interesting services as a remote access and file transfer that you as a security, I know you're a fan of the security things, not maybe these PLC things that you can pivoting and making some access vector, like a fast access for your ICS networks with these services. So you will have a possibility to make some jumping host for remote shells and for getting access into the network. And yeah, it will more and more will go into the security direction, that we will have more use cases, more detections, and more, let's say, more playground for running some threat modeling, or to make some, let's say, to make offensive techniques, to check these techniques,
Nice.
and after that to collect all the data from these. For example, when you have a brute force into your remote access, yeah, it's not a secret that I think most of the remote access now are somehow exposed into the network, that they have an RDP or whatever kind of remote access that are, let's hope, sitting in the DMZ, and all the remote engineers that are working from the home get access into the ICS. And of course, there are a lot of brute forces into this, or grabbing some unusual logins into these remotes. And yeah, we will get these services and try to first learn how to emulate this behavior, and after that, how to detect these abnormal things.
Nice.
Yeah, this will be the next release, and after that we will connect all this into the SIEM, and to solve the main problem. Okay, we have the systems, but how to efficiently monitor them, and to involve the last, maybe the advanced things as a SOC analyst, to understand, yeah, what you will do with your PLC when you have a PLC stop. So how you will respond.
Nice. This is really nice. I mean, to add more security features, I think this is new for most testbeds, and I think Labshock is one of the leaders in this direction, especially for OT. Good luck with that, and I really support you and encourage you to continue. And do you think Labshock could be run from the cloud, or it's not ready yet?
For the cloud, let's say it's not ready yet, but it will be, of course, running from the cloud, because I've got requests to do it, and people need this, and also, of course, I understand that I need this to run it. Yeah, it will be on the cloud.
Yeah, because some of my students, they had a problem installing Docker, or their computer isn't fast enough, or some issues, technical issues. They're not very tech savvy, most of the students. So maybe a cloud will make it easier, maybe, I think. Okay. So are we done now with the Labshock?
I think, yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. So let's close the window. I close it. Okay. So, I think I mean, you are a developer, right? You can, I mean, you come from computer science background, right? Or engineering?
Yeah, for developer, I was, let's say 1 year when I started. Of course, I started from the pen tests, yes, from the Python, from scripts, from Kali, and etc. And after that, I started to build programs using Python. But
Python.
for example, in our development, there were a true developers with C, C++, and they are like, it's not possible to run the application in Python. It was like 10 years ago. But now, yeah, everything is written in the Python, especially with AI. So yeah, I started with pen testing. After that, developing this first OT SIM, and after that, it was a poor development. And now my main things I don't know where I am as a security or developer, or it's something combined.
Yeah. Okay. Did Python help you with Labshock?
Yeah, of course. One thing is that you need full control, not full, but a lot of control of the services, or for example, the OpenPLC is not the poor OpenPLC. It's rewritten to inject the security features as a logging. So in OpenPLC, there is no logging. And you need to also change this to have logs. And the same for SCADA. So yeah, you need a lot of programming to do this, of course.
So you didn't find these features ready outside, I mean, in the open source. So you had to write them yourself. So that's what happened, right?
Yeah, of course.
Cool, man. So you are also an OT security guy and developer. That's very interesting combination. I mean, nice skills to have, I think, because this helped you to develop a tool that you wish to have. Otherwise, you would have to rely on someone, and maybe it will be costly or not possible, because it's best when you know what you do and you know how to code it. Then it's better than hiring somebody who doesn't know the concepts that you do know. So.
Yeah, this was also the main criteria to the Labshock. Like, you can take the open source or something service, for example, not PLC, but network monitoring tool. But after that, you cannot involve and evolve the service to inject the features like SIM integration or log collection or whatever. So yeah, you can grab the pretty ready services, but after that it's hard to change them or to increase the features. Like, for example, you are saying, can we run it on the cloud? If you have everything from ready services and you don't have a control, it will be harder and harder, and at the end it will be impossible to make some requests and for users which are without this request, it will fail. This project will fail. So you need cloud. Yeah, of course you need cloud. And of course, thanks for AI, it's nowadays more easily and more speed up to write something. Without this, it's important. you need a backend team, front end team, and etc. But I think you know this better than me.
So your background is computer science, right?
My background is security. No,
university. I mean, I'm talking degree.
A degree, yes, cybersecurity.
Ah, okay. So computer, yeah, computer science.
It's.
Yeah.
I think everything can be injected into the computer science. All the technology, all the master degrees can be a computer science, but
yeah, it's the umbrella, the big umbrella. So I mean, it's impressive. I mean, you come from IT or computers background, and then you took your path to OT, and you joined companies, and you learned about OT, and then you started to develop tools like SIM and Labshock. It's interesting. I mean, this is a good example for people who are coming from IT and they want to join OT. They don't have to be engineers or study engineering. I mean, there are many paths you can take in this industry. There are many areas, many angles, such as Zakhar, for example, and myself also. I'm not an engineer. I come from computer science background, from bachelor to PhD, and but I taught myself. I learned from others. I learned from experts. I read. I keep reading and practice. So.
Yeah, this is also the main problem to jump into the OT security. There is engineers, like automation engineers, OT engineers, and there is security guys. For OT engineers, you need to learn security, but it's a little bit maybe hard, maybe expensive, maybe it's another vision and it's hard. And for security guys, it's hard to touch the OT, to understand what is running there. And these two there, and I think this 50-50 that we have a big demand. Yeah, a lot of OT engineers are trying to jump into the security, and a lot of security jumping into the OT, and they have a little bit different problems and different knowledge to read and to learn.
Fully agree. Do you think one day Labshock could be used for CTF, capture the flag?
I have ideas. Don't worry. I have ideas how to organize it, but
it will be good. It will be good if you do it. Really, you will get many people.
Yeah. Of course, there will be some CTFs and to create, because Labshock, it's only an agent for creating the labs. It's not a strict, for example, oil spring. We can create different kinds of industries. We can create different kinds of PLCs, SCADA, and etc. and DMZ, and put a lot of things there. So it will be. It is scaled, and it will be scaled to this level, like to create different CTFs. And my idea is to also combine these CTFs into the more or less some multiplayer things to have some connections with different Labshocks, with different oil springs.
Let me know when it's ready. I mean, because in my home country, people they want to do OT CTFs. I mean, I've spoken to many, and they told me that they are interested to do, not just do hack the box. So maybe there will be Labshock CTF one day. So let me know, because we can do it as well locally here, and we can also do it remotely with you. So I think it will be interesting.
It will be after the SIM integration. We will jump into this topic because at the end for end users, it is I think also the main engagement for people to do it. And it will be not only the hack the box, because I saw a lot of times that it's maybe not so interesting and not so profitable to have a box you are running and that's all. So it's more or less interesting when you have environment, some challenge and some competitions, and
exactly. I think you'll have more advantage over some small OT CTFs that only require you to analyze a pickup file or just a little bit simulation script. It's not really realistic, and also it doesn't build the big picture. But when you have, like you said, the whole architecture ready and set up, then it will be more interesting and for educational and also for competition, because this will combine everything. So you're right.
But the first step is educational. You cannot go from the competition to education, but for that we need more, let's say, time and power to create this, but it will be here, of course.
Okay, Zakhar, anything else? Anything you would like to say about you or your project or OT SIM mastery before we wrap up?
The only thing is that to say thanks for all the community that I'm getting the feedback and support from the people that are using Labshock, reading the OT SIM guide and etc. So it's helped as this voluntary project to be on the on live and to make more features. Without this, if users will not be happy and will not giving the feedback, it will be hard to maintain. So thanks everyone. Thanks for your subscribers and who is watching now. So big thanks.
Man. Yeah, sure, man. You're welcome, and I wish you all the best. And maybe one day we will have a really fully functional OT lab that has not just Modbus, maybe other protocols also, and we can do threat modeling, like he said, and many OT layers like DMZ zone and remote access, and it's just you can apply everything you read about in the books and the courses. You can apply directly from Labshock. Hopefully that. All the best, Zakhar, and thank you for your time and for joining me on ICS Arabia. And see you soon in LinkedIn, because that's where I communicate with Zakhar most of the time. LinkedIn is really has a really excellent community, OT cybersecurity community. I really enjoy it. I remember in 2012 when I joined LinkedIn, there were really maybe you can count them by hand, people who speaks about ICS and OT security. I remember. Now it's massive, it's huge. So I'm glad for that and for the progress. Zakhar, thank you very much, and thank you for sharing your information and showing us how Labshock work and your project, and all the best. Thank you, Zakhar.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you, guys, and take care. And I hope you like this episode. See you next time.